The Silent Watchers. The quantum detection array hidden beneath the Atacama Desert registered the signal at exactly 3:42 Greenwich Mean Time. Within seconds, similar arrays across Earth confirmed the reading. A massive collection of objects had just emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. Director Elena Santos stood in the heart of Earth Defense Command. Her weathered hands gripped behind her back as she studied the holographic display. "How many?" she asked, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. 712 vessels, Director, replied Commander David Chen, his fingers dancing across the neural interface. Energy signatures match nothing in our database. They're big, capital ships mostly, ranging from cruiser to dreadnought class. Elena nodded, dark eyes never leaving the display. For 15 years, she had overseen humanity's most closely guarded secret, Project Sentinel. While the world's populations went about their daily lives, believing themselves alone in the universe, a select group of scientists, soldiers, and leaders had worked tirelessly to prepare Earth for this exact moment. "They're broadcasting," announced Dr. Sarah Williams, head of Sinolinguistics. "Wideband, all frequencies. The AI is processing it now." The message materialized in the air before them, translated in real time. "People of Earth, we are the Nexus Dominion. We come in peace, seeking diplomatic relations with emerging civilizations. Please respond on this frequency to establish formal contact." A bitter smile crossed Elena's face. How diplomatic of them to announce themselves only after entering our solar system within our meta. She turned to face the assembled command staff. "What's their current velocity?" "They're decelerating," Chen reported. "At current speeds, they'll reach Earth orbit in approximately 72 hours. And Project Aegis." Dr. James Morrison, Chief of Quantum Engineering, stepped forward. "The quantum mesh is fully operational, Director. We can activate it at any time. The nanite swarms are in position throughout the system, and the gravitic pulse generators are charged and ready." Elena turned back to the display, watching the massive fleets approach. Humanity had spent decades preparing for this moment, knowing that first contact was inevitable. But they hadn't waited passively. They had worked in secret, developing technologies that merged quantum mechanics with artificial intelligence in ways that would seem impossible to most. "Send the response we prepared," she ordered. "Welcome them warmly. Express our excitement at first contact. Invite their diplomatic vessel to approach Earth. The rest of their fleet is to remain at the orbit of Mars. Standard diplomatic protocol, of course." The command staff exchanged knowing looks. They had rehearsed this scenario countless times. If the Nexus Dominion truly came in peace, they would respect this basic security request. If they didn't, they're responding, Williams announced. "They agree to our terms. A single vessel is breaking formation, while the main fleet is adjusting course for Mars orbit." "How accommodating," Elena murmured. "Launch the quantum probes. Let's see what our visitors are really carrying beneath those diplomatic credentials." Throughout the solar system, microscopic quantum-entangled probes activated, invisible to conventional sensors. They began feeding data back to Earth Defense Command, building a complete picture of the Nexus fleet's capabilities. Hours passed as the diplomatic vessel approached Earth. Elena watched as the quantum probes revealed the truth. Weapon systems carefully masked but very much present, powerful enough to reduce continents to ash. The approaching ship alone carried enough firepower to devastate a small country. "Director," Chen called out, his voice tense. "The quantum probes are detecting energy buildups in the main fleet. They're not maintaining orbit at Mars. They're using it to mask their energy signatures while they charge weapons." Elena nodded, unsurprised. "And now we know their true intentions. Initiate silent shield protocols. Let's show our visitors that humanity isn't quite as primitive as they assumed." Throughout Earth's cities, quantum field generators hidden in ordinary buildings hummed to life, their energy signatures masked by the planet's natural electromagnetic field. In the asteroid belt, automated manufacturing facilities began producing swarms of autonomous defense craft. Deep beneath the oceans, sleeping giants stirred, massive quantum submarines capable of launching devastating counterattacks. The Nexus Dominion thought they had found an easy target, a young species ripe for conquest or subjugation. Instead, they were about to discover that humanity had spent generations preparing for this moment, developing technologies that merged the impossible with the inevitable. As the diplomatic vessel entered Earth orbit, Elena Santos allowed herself a small smile. The trap was set. Now it was only a matter of time before the Nexus Dominion revealed their true colors and learned firsthand why humanity had survived every crisis it had ever faced. All stations, maintain current status, she ordered. Let them think they have the upper hand. When they make their move, we'll show them exactly what humanity is capable of. The first battle for Earth's future was about to begin, and humanity was far more ready than their would-be conquerors could possibly imagine. Beneath the surface, the Nexus diplomatic vessel hung in low Earth orbit like a sword of Damocles, its crystalline hull refracting sunlight across the planet below. In the United Nations Assembly Hall, the alien ambassador was making its case for Earth to join the Dominion, promising technological advancement, protection, and prosperity. Director Santos watched the proceedings through quantum-encrypted feeds, noting how the aliens' translator perfectly rendered every human language. Their preparation was impressive and telling. The Nexus had clearly studied Earth for years before making contact. Energy spike detected. Commander Chen reported from his station. The diplomatic vessel is attempting to interface with our satellite network. Right on schedule, Elena replied. Are they finding what we wanted them to see? Dr. Morrison nodded, his quantum displays showing streams of data. The dummy network is feeding them exactly what we prepared. Outdated military systems, primitive communication protocols, and carefully crafted vulnerabilities. They think they're seeing our entire defense infrastructure. The real story was far different. In the decades since humanity had first detected traces of alien civilizations, Earth's greatest minds had worked in absolute secrecy to develop defenses that merged quantum mechanics with artificial intelligence in ways that would seem impossible to most. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, the quantum forge hummed with activity. Here, in a facility larger than Manhattan, autonomous systems constructed microscopic machines that could reshape matter at the quantum level. Similar facilities existed under every major ocean, hidden from prying eyes by advanced gravimetric distortion fields. The main fleet is moving, Chen announced. They're breaking formation around Mars. Multiple energy signatures consistent with weapon charging sequences. Elena watched as the massive fleet began to spread out, positioning themselves for what they clearly thought would be a swift conquest. The Nexus ambassador's speech had reached its climax, the alien's multifaceted eyes gleaming as it described the benefits of willing submission to the Dominion. Dr. Williams, what's your analysis of their true communications? Elena asked. The xenolinguist's hands moved across her neural interface, sorting through streams of encrypted alien transmissions that the quantum probes had intercepted. They're confident, Director. Their command structure is discussing occupation protocols and resource extraction plans. They expect minimal resistance. How unfortunate for them, Elena murmured. She opened a secure channel to the quantum forge. Admiral Hayes, status report. The Admiral's weathered face appeared on a floating display. The quantum swarms are ready, Director. We can deploy 50 million units within 3 minutes of your order. The gravitic pulse generators are charged, and the dimensional anchor points are stable. Elena nodded, her mind racing through the countless simulations they had run for this scenario. The Nexus Dominion had conquered dozens of worlds, always following the same pattern, a show of overwhelming force followed by demands for submission. They had never faced an opponent who had spent generations preparing specifically for them. They're launching their first wave, Chen reported. 5,000 attack craft, spreading out to target major population centers. The diplomatic vessel is powering up its main weapon systems. Right on schedule, Elena said. She opened a channel to all Earth Defense Command stations. All units, initiate Protocol Omega. Let's show our visitors what humanity is really capable of. Throughout the solar system, humanity's true defensive capabilities began to awaken. In the asteroid belt, massive hangar doors opened silently, releasing swarms of quantum-enabled fighter craft, smaller than dust, but more lethal than anything the Nexus had encountered. Beneath Earth's oceans, the quantum submarines began to rise, their hulls wrapped in fields that bent space itself around them. The Nexus ambassador's speech faltered as their sensors detected the first anomalies. Where their scans had shown primitive defenses, something else was emerging. Something that defied their understanding of physics and technology. They're attempting to abort their attack run, Chen reported, a hint of satisfaction in his voice. Their sensors are detecting the quantum fields now. Too late, Elena replied. Execute containment protocols. Show them why you don't threaten Earth. The trap was about to snap shut, and the Nexus Dominion was about to learn that they had made a terrible mistake in assuming humanity would be an easy conquest. The real question wasn't whether Earth would survive. It was how much of the invasion fleet would remain to carry warning back to their empire. The quantum gambit, the first sign that something had gone catastrophically wrong for the Nexus Dominion, came when their initial wave of fighters encountered Earth's atmospheric boundary. Where their sensors had shown nothing but empty air, they suddenly found themselves entangled in a web of quantum fields that shredded their navigational systems. Quantum mesh is performing exactly as designed, Dr. Morrison reported, his displays showing cascading patterns of energy across Earth's upper atmosphere. Their conventional shields can't compensate for the spatial distortions. Elena watched as the alien fighters began to fall into chaos, their formation breaking apart as pilots struggled with systems that suddenly couldn't tell up from down. Not a single shot had been fired, but the first wave of the invasion was already effectively neutralized. The main fleet is responding, Commander Chen announced. They're charging their primary weapons. Energy readings are off the scale. They're preparing to glass the entire northern hemisphere. Perfect, Elena replied. They're playing right into our hands. Admiral Hayes, you may begin Phase 2. Throughout the solar system, humanity's quantum swarms activated. Billions of microscopic machines, each one powered by technology that bent the fabric of reality itself, surged toward the Nexus fleet. To conventional sensors, they were invisible. To the quantum-enhanced systems that the aliens were only now discovering, they appeared as a tsunami of approaching doom. The diplomatic vessel is attempting to escape orbit, Williams reported. They're broadcasting surrender demands. Submit or be destroyed. Rather ironic, given the circumstances. Elena allowed herself a grim smile. Show them our response. Beneath the oceans, Earth's quantum submarines surfaced. Each vessel was a masterpiece of human engineering, designed to harness the fundamental forces of the universe itself. They had remained hidden for decades, waiting for this moment. The submarines fired their primary weapons, not conventional missiles or energy beams, but concentrated bursts of quantum-entangled particles that ignored shields and armor as if they didn't exist. The diplomatic vessel, for all its impressive size and power, never had a chance. It vanished in a flash of light as its atomic structure was temporarily shifted into another dimension. First blood to Earth, Chen announced. The main fleet is responding. They're launching everything they have. The space around Earth lit up as thousands of Nexus weapons discharged simultaneously. Energy beams and plasma torpedoes powerful enough to crack continents streaked toward the planet. The alien commanders watched in satisfaction, expecting to see Earth's surface transform into molten slag. Instead, their attacks encountered the full power of humanity's quantum defense grid. The energy weapons were caught in carefully designed quantum fields that redirected their power through microscopic wormholes, sending the destructive force right back at the ships that had fired them. The plasma torpedoes found themselves trapped in temporal bubbles, their explosive force contained and dissipated across microseconds of dilated time. "Their fleet is in disarray," Morrison reported. "The quantum swarms are beginning to breach their hull integrity. Our AI systems are predicting total shield failure across their front line within 3 minutes." Elena nodded, watching as humanity's true military might reveal itself. The Nexus Dominion had expected to find a primitive species cowering behind chemical rockets and radio waves. Instead, they had stumbled into carefully laid trap decades in the making. "Send the message," she ordered. "Let's see if they're willing to reconsider their position." Throughout the Nexus fleet, commanders received a simple transmission. "You have encountered humanity's outer defense grid. This is your only warning. Retreat now, or witness our actual weapons in action." The response came quickly. A massive surge of energy as the Nexus fleet attempted to engage their faster-than-light drives, hoping to retreat and regroup. But humanity had prepared for this as well. The quantum field that permeated the solar system had transformed space itself around the alien vessels. They weren't going anywhere. Shattered empires. The Nexus flagship, a massive vessel that dwarfed Earth's largest cities, pulsed with emergency lighting as its commanders frantically tried to comprehend what was happening. Their invincible armada, which had conquered countless civilizations, found itself trapped and vulnerable for the first time in its history. "They're consolidating their forces," Commander Chen reported, tracking the movement of the alien fleet, forming a defensive sphere around their command ships. Energy readings suggest they're diverting all power to their shields. Elena studied the tactical display, watching as the Nexus fleet attempted to adapt to a situation they had never trained for. "They still think this is about brute force." Elena nodded, studying the holographic display showing the vast territory that had once belonged to the Nexus Dominion. "And the quantum drive integration. Dr. Morrison's team has successfully adapted our quantum propulsion technology to work with the captured Nexus vessels. We can begin distributing it to our new allies within the month." The defeat of the Nexus fleet had changed everything. Humanity had not only defended itself, it had shattered an empire that had dominated a significant portion of the galaxy. The power vacuum left in its wake presented both opportunities and challenges. Dr. Williams, Elena called out as the xenolinguist entered the chamber. "What's the status of the cultural integration protocols?" "Better than expected," Sarah replied. "The former Nexus subject species are fascinated by Earth's approach to technological development. The idea of advancement without conquest is revolutionary to them. They're particularly interested in our quantum sciences." Earth had decided to share some of its technological advances with its new allies, carefully and strategically. The quantum fields that had defended the solar system were now being adapted to protect other worlds. The microscopic swarms that had disabled the Nexus fleet were being reprogrammed to help rebuild devastated planets. Admiral Hayes reports that the first Joint Defense Fleet is ready for deployment. Chen added, "Ships crewed by humans and former Nexus subjects working together. The quantum integration interfaces are performing perfectly." Elena smiled, remembering the long decades of preparation that had led to this moment. Humanity had not only survived first contact, they had emerged as a guardian species, using their technology not for conquest, but for protection and advancement. The chamber began to fill as representatives from dozens of species took their seats. Many wore expressions of awe as they gazed at the quantum technology surrounding them. To them, humanity represented something entirely new in the galaxy, a species that had developed in isolation but emerged fully prepared for the challenges of interstellar civilization. "The Galactic Assembly is ready to begin, Director," Chen announced. "They're waiting for your opening address." Elena stepped forward, facing the gathered representatives. The quantum fields automatically translated her words into every known language as she spoke. "Welcome to Earth. 1 month ago, we defended ourselves against those who sought to conquer us. Today, we gather not as conquerors and conquered, but as equals." Humanity's advancement was built not on dominion over others, but on the principle that true strength comes from preparation, innovation, and the willingness to defend not just ourselves, but all who seek peace. She gestured to the holographic display showing the galaxy. The age of the Nexus Dominion is over. In its place, we propose a new alliance, one built on mutual respect, shared knowledge, and collective defense. Earth's quantum technologies will be shared with all member worlds, not as a means of control, but as a foundation for cooperation. The chamber erupted in approval. Species that had known only subjugation under the Nexus Dominion were witnessing something unprecedented, a powerful civilization offering partnership instead of demanding submission. As Elena concluded her speech, she thought about how far humanity had come. They had prepared for war, but emerged as peacekeepers. They had developed weapons but would use them as shields. The quantum sciences that had defended Earth would now help unite a galaxy. The future begins today, she announced, not just for Earth, but for all species who choose to join us in building something greater than empire, a civilization where advancement comes not from conquest, but from cooperation. Welcome to the dawn of a new era. In the space above Earth, the combined fleet of human and alien vessels stood watch. Their quantum-enhanced sensors monitored the galaxy, ready to defend against any threat. But for the first time in generations, the species of the galaxy looked to the future not with fear, but with hope. Humanity had proven itself not just capable of surviving in a hostile universe, but of transforming it into something better. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter, heralding the beginning of a new chapter in galactic history, one where Earth led not through force, but through wisdom and preparation. The age of conquest was over. The age of cooperation had begun.